It's alive. Hot damn. Got it. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Fender Plugged In. So in this episode, we are going to do a deep dive into Jazzmaster pickups, like what I have here. Don't worry, in future episodes, we will certainly cover P-bass pickups and jazz bass, Telecaster, and Strat pickups as well. So look for those episodes in the future. I'm here with Stephen Casado, our design engineer for pickups. He's kind of our resident guru for pickups, and we're thankful to have you on set here today. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Real quick, so what is your background, and maybe how many years you've been with Fender, and what's your kind of day-to-day here at Fender?
Yeah, I've been with Fender about 7 years. My background, I started winding pickups when I was about 16. Took apart my first electric guitar a few months after I had it, and now here I am.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so you're designing pickups?
Exactly. So typically I'm given a spec sheet that describes a tone, and then my job is to turn that into a pickup that can produce that sound.
So I have a few questions. We're going to go through kind of rapid fire questions. Now, what is the difference or what's special about a Jazzmaster pickup, or what are the kind of different nuances of a Jazzmaster pickup?
So the most unique thing about a Jazzmaster pickup is the thing you can see, and it's the width of that coil.
Right.
These coils are really wide and really short. That kind of creates the unique sound that you get from a Jazzmaster.
So what do you think is like the quintessential Jazzmaster tone? What are Jazzmaster players kind of looking for out of a pickup?
Yeah, I think this brightness, this clarity on the top end is so important to the Jazzmaster. When we say brightness, that's not a very specific term, right? We talk about it for tellies, we talk about the sort of bell-like tone for Strats, but Jazzmasters have their own unique kind of jangly thing that I think sets them apart from the rest of our line.
Yeah, and I think every Jazzmaster I've ever played, it has its own unique sound. It can do that jangly kind of thing, drench it in reverb, but just in general, it takes like distortion and fuzz really well too.
Yeah.
Right, and you see a lot of players certainly today on the scene that are using them and with a wall of pedals and the amps and tons of different effects.
Yeah, that clarity really kind of allows for that. When you think of a Jazzmaster and you're thinking about shoegaze or surf,
right,
all those things are really heavily affected.
Right.
And it's that clarity that allows you to have, you can hear the notes, you can hear the tone through all of the effects.
Great. So on the technical side, is there a sweet spot? So you're talking about the tone and the clarity. Is there a sweet spot when you're designing a pickup, like the output or the inductance or the DC resistance that you're kind of targeting?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually more so for Jazzmasters than other pickups because they're so short. You have kind of a limited amount of winding space, and it's that winding space that gives you that sweet spot. You need enough output to be loud enough and to hit the amp hard enough. And about the time that you have enough output, you're almost out of space. So adding more turns like you could on a Tele Bridge or a Strat is not as much an option on the Jazzmaster. Right. So they really have this 8K, 3 Henry sweet spot right in there that they all kind of like to live at.
Okay, so you mentioned, the Jazzmaster pickup, and we'll show some B-roll, why is that? Why is it designed as a shorter pickup?
Yeah, I wish we could ask Leo why he felt like, right. But that shorter coil actually allows you, this goes beyond the scope of this episode, but the physics of it gives you that brighter coil, that really flat pancake allows you to get all that clarity.
Yeah. Now, we talked about this last week of the misconception that people feel it's a shorter pickup, that the idea is that it's a darker pickup, and that's not really true, right?
Yeah, sort of the opposite's the case. And I think the fact that it's kind of from the top about the size of a P90, and I think people then associate those two or sometimes mix those two up. But no, it's all of that is all contributing to a really a lot of top-end clarity. The other aspect of it is the shorter magnets. those really short magnets create a Gauss field that senses a smaller part of the string. And sensing a smaller part of the string gives you a little more brightness again. Guitars are a system, and Leo thought of them that way. And so when he was designing these really bright pickups, he knew he was going to put it with the rhythm circuit, which makes things much darker. So what you have when you have these bright pickups and the ability to make them quite dark, you have a broader range of tones. And so you can really see in the design of it the story that Leo was trying to tell and to give artists with this.
Well, thank you, Stephen, for joining us today. We're going to move on with the episode. So next up, we're going to talk a little bit about soldering. I'm going to show you how to swap out your current set of Jazzmaster pickups with a new set of pickups. Then we're going to listen to some comparisons with 4 pickup sets in the Fender line, and then we're going to head over to the custom shop for a special guest, so stay tuned. All right, if you're ready to tackle soldering to do your own projects at home, here are the tools that you'll need. Number 1, of course, is a soldering iron. I recommend an iron that comes with a sponge so you can wet the sponge and clean your iron as you go through your projects. Some irons come with a brass sponge that helps you clean the tip of the iron as well. Number 2, solder. So depending on where you live, you're able to use either lead-free or lead-based solder. Make sure you have some good solder. That is a necessity. Number 3, needle nose pliers. Now you can go with either the straight needle nose or the bent needle nose. Either one will help you avoid burning your fingers in tight spaces. Number 4, helping hands. This is also going to help you avoid burning your fingers and help you keep things in place. This includes often a magnifying glass so you can get closer to what you're doing, and a series of alligator clips to hold the components. Number 5, if you need to desolder a component, you have 2 options. You have a solder sucker, which actually sucks up the solder, or you have this braided wire here, which also soak up a solder from a joint or component. Here are some other things to keep in mind when soldering. Make sure your iron is well heated up before starting. If you're able to set the temperature on your iron, wait until it's reached the desired temperature. Don't stay too long on a solder point to avoid burning that point and to avoid solder drip. Clean the tip after every use, either using the wet sponge or a brass sponge. Make sure you're in a well-ventilated spot while soldering, especially if you're doing a lot of solder work. And finally, don't blow on a solder joint to cool it. Rapid cooling can make it brittle or give you a cold solder joint, so let it cool naturally. All right, so we're going to swap out the stock set of Jazzmaster pickups in this Ventera for a set of the Jazzmaster signature pickups. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is remove the strings from the guitar and then the screws from the pickguard so we can flip it over and access the components. All right, so I removed the strings from the guitar as well as the pickguard screws. One thing to be aware of before you flip the pickguard is that your bridge is probably loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that off now that the strings are off. And then, and I've seen it on a lot of the Jazzmaster models, and I'm guessing this is the same here, that a lot of the, like the rhythm circuit and the wires that are feeding to different components are probably placed underneath of the pickup, so I won't be able to remove the entire pickguard before I remove the pickups themselves. So let's do that first. All right, now everything should be free, and I'm gonna carefully lift up the pickguard. And there we go. So these can come out here. I'm gonna just take the covers off, put those aside. There we go. And you can see here, I'm gonna flip over. And one thing I like to do, I'm gonna do this again, just to protect the face of the guitar, I'm gonna put a rag down as I lay this pickguard down so I don't scratch the finish on the guitar. So as you can see here, here are the 2 stock Jazzmaster pickups. All right, now that I have access to everything, you can see 2 wires coming out of each pickup, black and white, that's ground, and the hot wire. The 2 grounds are going to the back of the volume pot right here, being grounded. And the hot wire for the bridge pickup is going to the 3-way toggle, which is right here. And then the hot wire for the neck pickup is going to the rhythm circuit, which is right here on there. So we have 3 points that we're going to desolder, and then once we put the new pickups in, we'll have those 3 points again. So this particular model has the wires together with these nylon zip ties, and I want to take those off so I can freely take out the pickup wires. We'll do this carefully. one there. Put that aside, and then there's one down here as well. So we'll do that carefully, not to cut any of the wires. Okay, and there's two. All right, so the first wire I'm going to remove will be the hot wire for the neck pickup, and that's going to the rhythm switch of the guitar. So it's one wire here. I'm going to take my soldering iron, and let's heat up this tab, like that, and remove the wire. There we go. All right, so next will be the hot wire for the bridge pickup, which is going to the three-way toggle. And this is the tab on the end here for this white wire. So let's heat that up and remove. And now that one is also free. All right, so the last of the 3 points that we have to remove would be the ground wires. Now, on this particular model, the 2 ground wires for the pickups are also attached along with the ground wire from the switch. So there's 3 black wires here. So I'm gonna take my iron, heat up that spot. There's a little bit more solder here, so it might take a little bit longer to get it, but there we go. And then once you take that off, the cool thing is we have, there's solder left on the back of the pot so that when you put the new wires, you don't have to reapply any of that. All right, so now the next step would be to unbox the Jazzmaster pickups and kind of do the reverse and reinstall and resolder. Another note, often, if you buy new pickups, the cover may not match your switch tip or the color of the knobs. So in this occasion, I'm actually going to remove the ones that come with the Jazzmaster, put those aside, and use the original covers that come with the guitar, because they're basically the same, and they'll fit on here, and they'll match everything. So we'll do that for the neck and the bridge pickup. So we'll take that one as well, take this cover off, put it aside, and do the same there. So now we have the matching set, and you don't have to change your knobs or your switch tip. All right, so now let's reverse the process. I'm gonna start with the bridge pickup that we have here. I'm not going to screw them into the body yet. I'm gonna just kind of keep them freely in place. And kind of get the wires out of the way. Take the neck pickup. You can see there, it says Jazzmaster neck. I guess another note would be is, well, do you know, how do they go this way or this way? Typically, the way the lettering is written or stamped on the back of a pickup, that will dictate the orientation going from the bridge. So if you're holding the pickguard and the bridge is on the bottom, the writing will be upright. And the leads for the pickups are closer to the controls, namely the pots. So you can see how that works out there. So the leads are here, pots are here. All right, so I have the new Jazzmaster pickups here. I'm just gonna keep them here for now. It's a good spot to just keep them in place as I'm working on the wires. And then the first thing I wanna do, let's start from the last thing first, which is removing the 3 ground wires. So I wanna put those 3 back together. I have the 2 ground wires from the pickup, and then I have this ground wire, if you can see that, from the switch. So this cloth wire is really nice. It really allows you to, first thing, they're tinned, as I mentioned, so there's already a little bit of solder applied to the tips, so I don't have to pre-tin them additionally. But I'm gonna take my needle nose, I'm gonna grab the end of the wire here. I wanna give myself enough room to work with as I put these 3 wires together. So let's take these 2 from the pickup. Try to keep my wires tidy here, out of the way. And then we'll take the wire from the switch and just kind of put those all together. Kind of give it a twist. Okay, if you see that, now they're all together. Don't have to pre-tin the wires, like I mentioned, but I am going to apply some solder so these 3 stay together as one point. So I'm just gonna get some solder on here. Make sure they stay. All right, so then lastly, I'm going to reattach these 3 ground wires to the back of this pot. And like I said, we have some solder there, so I'm just gonna lay the wires against that solder point. I'm gonna hold it down. Should heat up relatively quickly. Okay, I'm gonna hold it there for a second or 2. And there we go. There's our ground. All right, let's go to the hot wires. Let's start with the bridge. Bridge hot wire goes to the 3-way toggle, this right side or the far right, depending on how you're looking at it. So we'll heat up this lug and then get that through. Gonna hold it there for a few seconds. And there we go, hot wire on the bridge. And then lastly, the hot wire for the neck pickup, which of course is wired to the rhythm circuit. So let's grab the white wire here. I have enough room. Get my soldering iron. I should have enough solder on the tab, so I'm just gonna heat that up quickly. Insert that wire, I'm gonna hold it there for a few seconds, and there we go. That seems to be perfect. All right, so to begin the process of putting everything back together, putting the pickguard and pickups back into the body, the first thing I want to do is reapply these rubber pieces here, which take the place of what you would normally see on a Stratotelli, the spring. So this will allow the pickup to kind of float, and then when you tighten it, it's pushing on the back of the pickup, so if you needed to raise it, it'll allow you to raise it. So I'm going to put these two that were a little bit higher in the bridge cavity, so just kind of keep them centered in there. And then I'll take these other two for the neck. So we'll do that right there. Okay, and there's a little bit of stick left on these, so if you have to reapply some stick, you can do that, just some thin double-sided tape, but that should stay in there as we do this step. All right, so let's reinstall the pickups. I'm gonna put the pickups in first. If you remember when I took the pickguard off, a lot of the wires were running underneath of the neck pickup. I'm gonna try to put this back on a different way and then route the wires kind of just underneath of the neck pickup so we don't have to have those locked under the pickup. So let's give it a shot. So I'm just gonna move this around. Again, keeping this rag on here so I don't scratch the body. So make sure I have them going the right direction. I'm gonna simply kind of place those, and you can line them up with the holes. You'll see the holes from where the screws were. So I'm just gonna basically line them up. Let's give it a shot. So I'm gonna put these screws in. To put all 4 in, and then that'll allow me to kind of move it around to get it into place so that I'm going into the original holes and not making anything additional. So, all right, so I think I have those lined up. I'm gonna go ahead and start tightening the screws. I'm not gonna worry about the pickup height for now. I'm gonna get them far enough in and have it secured. And then once I have it all restrung, I will adjust the pickup height. But for now, we're just gonna get these kind of all the way in there. Okay, that's secure. So let's go to the bridge. All right, so let's get the screws in first, and then I will align the screws with the holes that are already in the body. Okay, there's a little bit more rubber cushion on these, so I have to press down a little bit, but it looks like these are aligned. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start tightening the screws. And again, typically the bridge pickup of a Jazzmaster is a little bit higher than the neck, just because you have a typically brighter sound on the bridge, and the neck is really kind of full sounding, so that's why we have a little bit extra cushion, a little bit extra rubber underneath this one, because the height will need to be a little bit taller. Okay, so these are both secure. So then one of the final steps would be now to flip the pickguard over, ensure that the wires are all kind of cleanly going through the open channels here and not being crimped when you put the pickguard on, so let's give that a shot. Okay, now I always recommend, to your best ability, cable management. So once we get the pickguard back into the body, there'll be some routing of wires around or under a pickup. So I kind of connected these so they're all together. Now I left the wires for the pickups free, so I'm gonna have to kind of fish those in and out. And I know we're doing this quickly, but use your best judgment. So we'll flip this over, and I'm gonna remove the rag here. And we have this large cavity, so I'm gonna put the bulk of the wires for the pickups kind of there. The neck wire, I'm gonna have to fish around the pickup. Get this in place. Okay, and make sure nothing is getting crimped. Okay, I'm just gonna get that down in place. We'll drop that in, and there we go. That's a pretty good fit. All right, so one of the last things we want to do before we button the guitar back up and put the screws in and the strings, I want to test the pickups to see how we did. So the way to do that, I'm just going to plug the guitar in, and then I'm going to tap on the pickup. So you can use a screwdriver or an Allen wrench, anything metal. So basically, just so tap, there's your neck pickup, there's both, and then there's the bridge. And you can even test the tone, you can roll off. Okay, we can hear that works. Volume. I think we did a pretty good job. There we go. So next after that would be to, you put the bridge back on, get the screws back in the pickguard, restring it, and then the only thing left to do is have some fun. So if you're playing along at home, hopefully you did a great job. And there you go, that's swapping the pickups on your Jazzmaster. All right, so now you know how to do some basic soldering. You're looking for a different sound or a new tone, where do you start? Well, next we're going to listen to 4 different sets of Fender Jazzmaster pickups: Pure Vintage 65, the Jazzmaster Signature Set, Cuneife Cobalt Chrome, and then the Cuneife Wide Range. Our friend Joshua Ray Gooch helped us out by playing some riffs on each guitar, the same riff in each position. Pickup height is relatively the same in all 4. Nothing has been changed other than the pickups. 1 meg pots in each of the guitars, no pedals, straight into a 68 Custom Deluxe reverb, cranked somewhere in between clean and distorted. You'll actually hear a little more amp reverb in the hotter pickups because it's simply pushing the amp more. We have the Pure Vintage 65 Jazzmaster, iconic clean and clear vintage style Jazzmaster tone, a little bit of an edgy snarl. The Jazzmaster Signature Set is a little bit warmer than most Jazzmaster pickups, and of course they respond great to drive and fuzz pedals. The Cuneife Cobalt Chrome Jazzmaster Set, Cobalt Chrome magnets in the bridge pickup, and then Cuneife magnets in the neck pickup, warm and articulate. And then the Cuneife Wide Range Jazzmaster Set, rich bell-like humbucking tone with full bass and clear treble. So see if you can hear the difference between the 4 sets. Also, I wanted to remind you there's a great video on our Fender YouTube channel with Tim Shaw doing a deep dive into the Cobalt, Cuneife, and Cuneife pickups. So please check that out for more information. And Joshua, take it away. everyone. We are here in the custom shop. I am with Josefina Campos. Josefina, welcome. Thanks for making the time. So a few questions. So this episode we're talking about Jazzmaster pickups. Well, first, how long have you been with Fender?
I have 34 years.
34 years.
Yes.
And how long have you been winding pickups with Fender?
Wow. I started winding when Abby is still working here,
with Abby,
but when he left, I stayed in charge for winding all the pickups. So
All the
like
pickups.
13 years.
13 years, okay. So you're winding not only Jazzmaster, but you're doing Stratocaster, everything,
Yeah,
right?
everything.
Everything.
Tellies.
Tellies,
Yeah.
Strats.
Strat.
So what is, I guess a question I have, is there a different approach when you wind Jazzmaster pickups from anything else? Is there a different process?
Yeah, actually it's different because the bobbin, you can see the bobbin is
shorter.
Yeah, and it's bigger, like a Strat or like a Telly, like a P-Bass. Yeah, it's totally different.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Is the wire the same? That might be a general question. Is the wire the same that you would use on a Jazzmaster, the same as a Strat?
No.
No, different. Okay.
No, it's different. I use 42 painting ammo for Jazzmaster, and for example, for Strat, I use 42 heavy fromber.
Got it. Okay.
And for Telly, I use 43.
43.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. What's your favorite part about winding pickups? Are you still having fun after?
Yes. I have fun all day.
All day. Okay.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite? Type of pickup to wind?
No,
Or
I love all.
all of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay. How many pickups do you think you wind each day?
Oh my God, like maybe 40, 50.
40. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Depends
Yeah.
because it's different. I make different orders for the master builders.
Right.
And sometimes each order is different. And sometimes I make 20, 25, 30,
sure.
and all is different.
Always different.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you in what you do, and I know a lot of the players out there who have whatever it is, a Strat or Telly, appreciate seeing your name signed on the back of those pickups. So thank you for what you do. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for like my work.
Yeah.
I make with my heart, with all my love. Thank you so much.
Appreciate that too. Yeah. Thank you.
you.
Yeah. All right, so thanks for tuning in to our first pickup episode. As I mentioned, more to come with other models in future episodes. And as with anything else, it's all one big experiment, right? So the main thing I've learned over the years with all of the demos we've produced and feedback from other players is that what might work for one person might not work for another. So you have options, you need to experiment, and remember the components of an electric guitar or bass all work together. It's typically not just one thing. You can try a new pickup, but you can also try changing pot values, capacitor values, treble bleeds, pickup height, etc. It all weighs in. So I want to thank my guests, Stephen and Josefina, and Joshua for the comparisons. Thanks for watching. Drop us a note in the comments and let us know what you want to hear about in future episodes, and we'll see you next time.